Hello, how are you doing tonight? My name is Dina Cataldo and I am your host. I own Sicilian Tea Company and I'm here to help you enjoy your tea ritual more. So if you're looking to enjoy tea even more than you already do, you are in the right place. Tonight I'm going to talk about green tea and different kinds of green tea, what makes tea green, and some brewing tips for you. But first, I wanted to bring your attention to a couple free resources. The first one is one that I created recently, which is a tea tasting and aroma guide. It's free, it's on the blog/show notes. If you click there, you can get your copy. It's a fun thing to kind of play with if you've ever searched for the very perfect word to describe whatever you're experiencing as far as tastes or aromas go, then you're going to want to check out this guide. You are going to want to get it because I actually was using it this weekend when I was going through all the green teas that I'm going to talk about tonight and all the green teas that I went through on the blog. And it was really helpful just seeing, okay, how do I articulate what it is I'm experiencing? And the more you do it, the better you get at it, which is, it's always fun to see that progress. Another thing I want you to know about, whether you are an experienced tea lover or if you are brand new to loose leaf tea, I want you to join the free Sicilian Tea Company Facebook group. It is a lot of fun and there are new people joining every day. And I'm seeing a little bit of glare happening, so I apologize if there's a little bit of glare going on, but I have my window open to give us a little bit more light. So, all right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about some green tea. There's 5 things I really want you to know about it, and we're gonna get into it. All right, so first off, why should you even drink green tea? I have a cup of green tea right here. It's hot, even though it is a hot Sacramento night. I am drinking hot tea because that's just how I roll. But there are a lot of reasons I drink it. First off, it's the flavor. So this one is a gunpowder green tea. And it's not one that I talked about in the blogs. Maybe it's something I'll add in the future. It has very rich flavors. It's almost like a stronger green tea. Maybe it's not as vegetal as you may be used to or expecting when you drink a green tea. But one of the reasons I love green teas is there's just so many of them. And each time I drink a different one, it's a totally new experience. When you maybe have tried green teas that are in tea bags, and they're usually that really crushed up fine CTC or crush tail tear curl method tea, and you don't get the same complexity of flavors from that tea. I used to drink it all the time and I liked it at the time, but now that I've experienced all of the loose leaf teas that I have, I'm starting to experience tea in a different way, which is something that I'm hoping that you do if you don't already. If you are looking for a tea that is silky smooth when you drink it down, or something that has a clean or a sharp taste when you drink it down, there's a green tea for you. If you like one that maybe tastes a little bit more like a green apple, or one that's a little more like seaweed, then you have a green tea out there for you. And I see you, Jen. How are you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us. So there's a green tea out there for you. And there are complex flavors in each of them. There's a roasted one that I'll talk about, Hujicha, which is a Japanese green tea. And it doesn't even look green, but the processing is what makes it green. And we'll talk a little bit more about why that is. So if you want a complex tea, if you want something that changes with every steep, one that is different with each green tea that you try, then green tea is for you. Another reason to drink green tea is for the health benefits. Now, I've written a blog, I've done a video on what I think about tea and health benefits. Basically, what it comes down to is drink what you like. Life's too short, so if you don't like what you're drinking, don't drink it. All the teas that you're drinking, they have some health benefit to them. All right? Well, good, I'm glad, Jen. So you're in the right place tonight. So you are in the right place if you are curious about green teas. If you want to get those health benefits, you can certainly get them from green teas. However, researchers study green teas more than the other ones, which is the reason why you hear more about green teas. I will link to those the video and the blog that I've done on health benefits and tea in the show notes when I'm done here. But drink what you like, all right? And I know that there's a green tea out there for you if you are curious at all. So another reason why green teas are so great is that people are continuing to experiment in creating new ones. There is one that we're going to talk about tonight that is made out of leaves that are usually used for black teas. And those are going to create more flavors that might be traditionally associated with black teas, like more of a mineral flavor, those kinds of things. So you are constantly going to get something new out there. And one of the things that I'm doing this fall, and I'll talk about it when we get closer, is creating something that will give you a sampling of all the different teas that are out there. It's called the 14-Day Tea Tour. There's going to be a link in the blog, but you'll hear more about that in the future. So what makes green tea green? All right, so green tea is unique because the tea masters, the ones who are creating the tea, the ones who are deciding what that tea is going to taste like, they are deciding how bright the leaf is going to be, when that leaf should be shaped, if that leaf should be shaped, because every time a tea leaf is jostled after it's plucked, the flavor can be changed. So with black teas, the ones that are really dark, the ones that are known for their high caffeine content, they are more aggressively rolled, they are curled, they are manhandled basically. And what that does is every time they're jostled, every time they're touched, they are releasing their oils from that leaf into the air, and the leaves are becoming oxidized. Okay, so when we talk about oxidation, that is creating that caffeine content that is releasing the healthy oils from the tea leaf out into the air. With green teas, they are fired before they're ever touched, before they're ever curled. What the tea masters do is after they're plucked off the tea plant, they heat them, and that preserves that green color. So when you see really bright green teas, they haven't been jostled, they haven't been rolled or curled as much as green teas that maybe are a little bit darker. And we'll talk a little bit about that when you see the difference between maybe a Japanese green tea like Essentia, which is bright and vibrant, versus a Chinese green tea like the Gualu, which is not quite as vibrant. It's been curled either by hand or by machine, and it's a little bit of a dimmer green color. Changes the flavors, it changes the colors, okay? It changes everything about that green tea. So that is what makes tea green. But then you're also gonna get those interesting variables, right? So hojicha, I talked to you about, it's a Japanese green tea. But what the tea master has done is instead of just plucking leaves, they're plucking the leaves, plus they're plucking different stems off of the plant. And then once they are fired and they go through the traditional processes of green tea, then that is when they are roasted. And once it's roasted, it makes it more of a brown color. So you're not going to get that traditional green color. You're going to get something that is also more rich, maybe even caramel. You're definitely going to taste that roasted flavor. You may not get the same antioxidant contents from a hojicha as you would Essentia or any other kind of green tea that's vibrantly green. Wow, I am seeing a lot of haze here. So let me see if I can do this, see if this helps at all. And if not, we may just have to deal with it. So thanks for your patience. All right, so at the blog, I talk about several different green teas. I talk about genmai cha and gualu. I talk about the hojicha. I also talk about adoki green, which is another one we're going to talk about. You'll see side-by-side comparisons of the different teas, how they're brewed in terms of what color the liquor is, because every time you brew a green tea, it's going to end up a different color. So if you're brewing a bright green sencha, you're going to end up with something that's more vibrant when you're looking at your cup. You're going to get something maybe that's even like a fluorescent green, versus a hojicha, that's going to be a darker color, versus the doki green, which is made out of those traditional black tea leaves. those are going to be a little bit darker too. So you're going to get a whole different canvas of different colors you're going to see when you brew these teas. So the spring green, the Gualu, that is Chinese, that one is more of a fruity aroma. It has a milder flavor. It's easy to drink. You have to be careful, just like every other green tea, not to overbrew it because you don't want to burn it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of this video. But what you want to know about this tea is that it is it's slightly astringent. It has maybe a little bit of a green apple taste to it. It has all of these light, mild flavors that makes it easy to drink and something that's really accessible if you're brand new to tea. Likewise, if you're brand new to tea, you can try the Genmai cha, which is a Japanese green tea. Now, China and Japan are known for their green teas. They make more green teas than anyone else. Japan, however, has such a high demand for green tea within its borders that you're not really going to see that much Japanese tea on the market. Most of the green tea that you see in the stores is going to be from China. The Genmai cha that I'm talking about tonight is Japanese. It is made from true sencha leaves that are grown in Japan, and it is blended with a toasted rice, and it makes it very savory when you're drinking it. It kind of has that savory taste to it, which is just delicious. So if you're brand new to loose leaf tea, Genmai cha is also very accessible. If you're interested, both of those are available at the store right now, and I'll link to that in the blog show notes. And then Doki Diamond Green, which I found really interesting because it's so different. You know, India is experimenting with these brand new teas, and the Doki Diamond Green is actually made by a very small tea plantation in India. So they make very small batches of everything that they do. They have really, they hand roll everything, and they have these batches that are unique, and they keep improving it every year. So when you see these leaves, you're going to see these beautiful little green pellets, and they unravel to show these really great leaves. The liquor that you make from them is going to be a lighter brown. All right, so how the heck do you pick out a good green tea? So you already know I am anti-tiny tea dust green tea. It just does not taste good, especially when you're comparing it to these delicious teas that we've been talking about, these loose leaf teas. So if you are picking out a green tea, you want it to be, first off, loose leaf tea. Second, you want to look for leaves that are as close to a whole leaf as possible. And the reason for that is because the smaller these leaves break down, and this is with any tea, the flavor diminishes. The oils are being released at a rate that makes it difficult to infuse, you know, with hot water to get all those good oils out. You know, if you ever have an opportunity to taste side by side a cup of tea bagged tea dust versus a cup of loose leaf tea, you'll see exactly what I mean. You won't be able to make out those same notes like green apple. You won't be able to make out those same aromas from the tea bagged tea as you will the loose leaf tea. So you want to give that a shot. And you want to infuse your green tea leaves in something that will allow the leaves to completely open. So when I was growing up, we always used those little teaspoons that had a little holes in them, and you were supposed to stuff tea inside of them. Well, those little teaspoons do not allow the leaves to unfurl. And the whole point of brewing loose leaf tea is to allow the leaves to unfurl so you can get all of those oils out of the tea leaf. That's what creates that delicious flavor, those delicious aromas. That also allows you to re-steep your tea multiple times. So if you are putting in, if you're using loose leaf tea, you want to make sure that you're re-steeping it at least 3 times, and you just increase the temperature or you increase the time that you're infusing those leaves as you increase your steeps. So steep number 1, maybe you're steeping it at a lower temperature for a shorter amount of time, and by the 3rd or 4th steep, maybe you've boiled your water and poured it over the leaves and let the leaves steep for a longer period of time, okay? So I'd also suggest trying them in small quantities because you just don't know what you like until you know what you like. When you try them in small packets, then you can go out and you can buy more of it. You can always find one of these teas, whether or not it's this season's tea, maybe you won't find it, but you will be able to find that tea again. Okay, so let me tell you how I brew my green tea. And it's a lot like what I've already talked to you about. I usually use a regular mug. A regular mug's about 12 ounces versus a teacup, which is about 8 ounces. If I'm brewing a green tea, I usually use about 2 teaspoons of tea for an 8-ounce cup. And then what I do is for a mug, I'll use a rounded teaspoon. So I'll use 2 rounded teaspoons of green tea. I will heat my water. I have one of those special kettles that will heat my water to exactly 185. But if you don't have that, it's okay. Just heat your water to boiling and then take it off the stove for 5 minutes, walk away, do something else, and then come back and pour your water over your tea leaves. I use this really great brew in mug. I've talked about it before. It's simple to throw in a mug and let it steep, let it brew. And then it's really easy to clean. So I'll link to that too if you're interested. But find something that you like, find something that's easy. That way you'll encourage yourself to drink more tea. Then, after I've had my first cup of tea, I heat the water again. Usually I keep it at 185, but instead of steeping it for 2 minutes on the first steep, I'll steep it for longer, like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. And then my third steep, what I'll probably do is boil my water and then let it steep for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. If this is your first time trying a green tea, what I would suggest is pouring the water in your teacup, in your mug, and then letting it brew just 1 minute. And then taste it. Sip it, see if you like it. Are you getting enough flavors? Are you getting enough aromas from it? If you don't feel like it really tastes like anything, steep it for another 30 seconds. Then try it again. Are you getting the flavor from it? If you're not, steep it another 30 seconds. You probably should not be brewing it longer than 2 minutes, especially on your first brew, simply because it's gonna get that bitter taste. And if you've ever had bitter green tea, you know that it is just nasty. So I just pour that stuff out and start all over again. Life is too short for gross tea. So those are my tips as far as brewing goes. All right, so I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for commenting, Jen. It was nice seeing you tonight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I will answer them. I will get back to you. I may even create a brand new show just for you and your question. I also want to know, and I will know, if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it. If you follow me on YouTube, you can subscribe to me there. And remember to get that side-by-side comparison of the different teas. You'll also get some of my tasting notes, some of the things that I noticed with the teas that I was drinking if you go to the blog show notes. And when you see that, you're really going to get a sense for the different kinds of teas that are out there and what's available to you. So I'm going to leave you with this. So loose leaf tea for me is a way to connect with myself, a way to get grounded. And I think that's because tea leaves are just, you know, part of nature. And I don't think a lot of us find ourselves in nature very often. And yeah, it's kind of a distant part of nature, but I do feel more connected when I'm drinking loose leaf tea. So keep experimenting, keep trying new things, go grab that tasting guide that I have online for you, and I will talk to you next time. Have a great night.